Hello, my name is Associate Professor Bridianne. I'm a mental health researcher based at the Black Dog Institute in Sydney, Australia, and I'm here to present our paper titled Reading Between the Lines, Identifying the Linguistic Markers of Anhedonia for the Stratification of Depression. Depression is a leading cause of disease burden worldwide. Many depressed individuals have difficulty accessing the right treatment at the right time. One of the reasons for this is the heterogeneity of depressive disorders. There is significant variance in the type and intensity of symptoms experienced by individuals with depression. There is growing interest in the stratification of depression, which involves identifying subgroups of depressed individuals who may be more likely to benefit from certain types of treatment approaches and interventions. Prominent anhedonia is one specific subtype of depression that typically leads to much lower response rates to first-line treatments, poorer quality of life, and higher rates of suicidality. Anhedonia refers to the diminished ability to experience pleasure or interest in activities that were previously enjoyed and can be pervasive across multiple domains of life. While anhedonia is a core symptom of major depression, it is not experienced to the same degree across all depressed individuals. This can make it challenging for clinicians to assess. There is a need for new methods of measuring anhedonia to better understand how this specific symptom manifests among depressed individuals. Psycholinguistic theory postulates that the words and features expressed in everyday language are indicative of our thoughts and feelings. Accordingly, linguistic analysis of personal communications and text data may be a potential method of stratifying depressed individuals with anhedonia. Indeed, several studies have revealed linguistic correlates of major depression expressed in various forms of text data, including personal essays, social media posts, online therapies, and SMS data. Consistent with this notion, there may be linguistic features expressed within different forms of personal text data that may reflect the unique motivational and social deficits associated with high levels of anhedonia in depressed adults. For example, greater decline in words related to interests and hobbies and pleasure-related words, more negative descriptions of daily life and activities, and variations in temporal references. This paper aims to explore whether automated linguistic analysis of different types of individuals' text data reveals unique linguistic features of anhedonia among depressed adults. Based on prior work, it was hypothesized that some linguistic features expressed by individuals with elevated depressive symptoms in their written text would be uniquely associated with anhedonia, and that these features would show some utility for predicting anhedonia when using machine learning models. The key contributions of this paper are greater understanding of the potential of automated linguistic analysis for identifying prominent anhedonia among depressed adults, and the implications for future research and implementation of using various types of text data for generating meaningful linguistic markers of mental health. This paper utilised text data collected in a 9-week randomised crossover trial conducted entirely online. Participants were randomised to complete 5 text tasks with varying degrees of emotional valence, arousal, memory recall, and past, present, or future focus. The tasks were also collected at varying frequencies throughout the study period. In the SMS retrieval task, participants were instructed to copy and paste private SMS messages that they had sent to any close friend in the past 2 weeks. In the social media post, participants were asked to write a fictional post for publication on social media. In the emotion diary task, participants were asked to write about their feelings about an event that had occurred that day that had impacted their mood. In the expressive essay task, participants were asked to write about their deepest thoughts and feelings about an extremely important emotional issue that has affected them and their life. In the letter to a friend task, participants were asked to imagine they were enjoying their time on an amazing holiday and to write a letter to their friend to convince them to join. To recruit participants, we utilised a paid social media campaign. To be eligible to take part, participants were required to report at least moderate symptoms of depression or anxiety as measured by the Patient Health Questionnaire and Generalised Anxiety Disorder Scale at screening, be at least 18 years of age, located in Australia, and have an active mobile phone number and email address. Participants who reported a suicide attempt in the past 6 months or those experiencing extreme and unmanageable emotional distress at screening were ineligible to take part. Participants' total depressive symptom scores were measured using the Patient Health Questionnaire 9, a self-administered version of the Prime MD diagnostic instrument for common mental disorders. The PHQ-9 is a widely used dual-purpose self-report instrument that can establish depressive disorder diagnosis as well as grade depressive symptom severity. Each of the 9 items assesses the frequency of depressive symptoms experienced over the past 2 weeks, with higher scores indicating higher levels of depressive symptoms. The scores can also be used to indicate the level of depression severity. In the current study, the PHQ-9 was administered 5 times at baseline and every fortnight to correspond with the completion of the text tasks. Participants' level of anhedonia was assessed using item 1 of the PHQ-9. Participants' level of fatigue and energy was assessed using item 4 of the PHQ-9, and this item was used for sensitivity analyses only. At baseline, participants reported their age, gender, education, relationship status, residential living status, paid employment, and whether they were born in Australia. Participants were asked to report what language they spoke at home and how often they needed help from someone to complete forms or read written materials. At baseline, participants were also asked whether they had ever received a formal diagnosis of depression, anxiety, or other mental illness, the duration of their mental illness, and any medication used for their mental illness. Linguistic features were extracted using the validated linguistic inquiry and word count tool. All statistical analysis were performed using R. Sensitivity analysis using the fatigue item of the PHQ-9 were conducted to test whether linguistic correlates of anhedonia were indeed unique. And nested cross-validation machine learning models were also conducted in R. The final sample consisted of 218 adults. The majority were female, Australian-born, married or partnered, in paid employment, with a mean age of 39 years and English as their main language. The majority had completed secondary schooling or had had university education and reported that they never required any literacy support. Almost all participants reported that they had been formally diagnosed with a mental illness with a mean age of onset of 19, a formal diagnosis occurring at 26 years. Over half the sample were currently taking prescribed medication. The majority of participants were classified as having moderate to severe depressive disorder based on their PHQ-9 scores at baseline. Over half experienced anhedonia more than half the time, and 1 in 10 reported experienced anhedonia nearly every day. For the linguistic analysis, greater use of discrepancy words were found to be significantly associated with high anhedonia scores, but in SMS data only. No other significant associations for anhedonia were found. The most frequently used discrepancy words in SMS data were can, need, want, hope, and would. Greater use of power words, greater use of sadness words, and reduced use of first-person plural pronouns were all significantly associated with higher total depression scores, but in social media posts only, and no other significant associations were found. For the additional sensitivity analysis, we tested for any significant associations between linguistic features and the fatigue score within the PHQ. No significant associations were found within the SMS data or the social media posts. For the machine learning models for predicting anhedonia, random forest models using only linguistic features were the best performing models for predicting anhedonia scores from linguistic features expressed in SMS data, accounting for 4% of the variance. Discrepancy words were also the most important linguistic feature in the model. Support vector machines with linear kernel using only linguistic features were the best performing models for predicting total depression scores from social media data, accounting for 6% of the variance. First person and third person plural pronouns were the most important linguistic features in the model. In closing, our results found that only one linguistic feature, greater use of discrepancy words, was found to be significantly associated with high anhedonia scores, and this feature emerged in SMS data only. Interestingly, this linguistic feature was not found to be associated with higher depression scores overall in any of the text data. Instead, total depression scores were found to be associated with a different set of linguistic features from within social media posts only. In the machine learning model for anhedonia, predicted values were weakly associated with actual values. Linguistic features showed some utility for predicting variance in anhedonia, with discrepancy words emerging as the most important linguistic feature in this model. In contrast, discrepancy words were not an important linguistic feature in the machine learning model for predicting overall depression scores. The findings indicate that automated linguistic analysis of participants' SMS data may show some promise for identifying depressed adults experiencing high levels of anhedonia. In relation to past work, the positive association between discrepancy words and anhedonia scores in SMS data may suggest that this type of communication platform encourages greater self-disclosure of anhedonia-related terms than other text forms. SMS appears to be advantageous for capturing the words that reflect the impaired process of decision-making, hesitation, and desire for reward experienced by individuals with depressive symptoms and prominent anhedonia. This is consistent with recent work by Liu and colleagues, who found that other cardinal symptoms of depression measured by the PHQ, notably suicidality and self-loathing, were more easily detected through linguistic analysis of social media posts than anhedonia. Our findings are also supported by other prior work by Liu and colleagues, who found that SMS was a platform that generally elicited more frequent expressions of discrepancy words than social media. These findings are likely to be due to the differences in self-disclosure afforded by each platform. SMS has been found to be used primarily for relationship development and social maintenance, whereas social media platforms have been typically found to be used for social validation, self-expression, and relief, such as help seeking and the exchange of support. Consistent with this notion, our findings suggest that the private, one-on-one, asynchronous nature of SMS may evoke more frequent expressions of the words that encapsulate personal desires, motivations, expectations, obligations, all of which are related to the clinical profile and neurobiology of prominent anhedonia. Unlike other past findings, our study revealed that SMS data and social media data differed in predictive power for detecting mental health status. Taken together, the findings provide further evidence of cross-platform differences in linguistic expression, whereby individuals vary the style and nature of their self-disclosure in response to different audiences, purposes, and context, rather than their mental health status alone. Thank you.